Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and it was so much fun. But I have to ask you, with the Brachiosaurus, why did you have to do that to my emotions? Why did you do that to me?
Well, exactly because for the same reason you're asking me that question, for the impact that created on you. And I think somehow it's that moment reflects the ending of a dream. It's the ending of Isla Nublar, the park, It had to be effective in order to pay tribute and justice to the idea we were trying to tell. It had to create that impact.
So when you from script to production to the film being released, did you think that would be the moment that stood out to so many people in the end?
Well, definitely, it's one of those moments that helps you to understand the story you're telling, So it's like a landmark, So you're going in that direction, So that the whole first section of the movie ends up in that shot, ends up in that moment.
I want to talk about the homages to the original Jurassic Park in a minute, but I have a question first. You got to bring Jeff Goldblum back, which was really cool. A lot of people were so excited about that. He ends up kind of bookending the movie. I'm curious, was that like the plan all along? Was it just, let's see where we can fit Jeff? Was there ever a plan to use him in a bigger role? What was the whole...
No, that was from the very beginning. That was the plan. The first 10 pages of the script that I received very early in the process was that speech from Jeff Goldblum, and I fell in love immediately with the story.
What did he think when he first saw it?
Well, it was very interesting how we worked together. I worked with Colin in those lines, but then I remember it was like 5 days that Jeff came to set like 5 days before we shoot that scene because he wanted to go through the lines. So we did a second pass with him, and you cannot say no to Ian Malcolm. He knows his character better than any one of us probably. So we sat down with Jeff and we went through every line again with him, and I'm very proud of that scene. I think it's the scene that where you can see the spirit of Michael Crichton in the story.
Yeah. Did you guys ever think about bringing any of the other cast members from the original trilogy back? Was Sam Neill ever a possibility, anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, it was only Jeff. It was only Malcolm from the very beginning. Yeah.
There were some cool moments though that paid homage to the first one. I mean, with the eyes and the different dinosaur ones. Did you kind of look at the original and say like, I want to do something with this, or I want to do something like that? What were some of your favorite bits from the first Jurassic Park that you got to take into Fallen Kingdom and say, let's kind of recreate that in our own way with modern technology? What kind of stuff were you excited about with that?
I think it's because we all have a very emotional connection with those movies, because we saw them when we were kids and when we were very young. So you have that kind of emotion about the story, and it's very interesting when you use it in order to move the story forward. I think it was all the time very important to use those references into the story that we were trying to explain, So, for example, when you see the famous shot of the mirror in the car reflecting a character, it's not the T-Rex now, it's Owen, and it's like a way of telling the audience, and it's not going to be about dinosaurs anymore. It's going to be, you're going to discover later on in the story that it's about humans,
Right. When you're making a film where there's a third movie coming after yours, is there anything that they say, all right, we need to make sure that we do this here so that it can pay off here, or do they give you complete freedom? Are there seeds, like when we go see the third Jurassic World movie, where we'll look back at this and say, oh, they did have that planned? Is there anything like that you kind of are mandated to put into the film?
Well, it's Colin Trevorrow is the architect of the story, so he has a plan for a trilogy, and there are some elements in the story of Fallen Kingdom that are planted there for the third movie. It's not only where the story is leading, it's also about small details that are references, and this is what I know about the third movie, those details that we were including in Fallen Kingdom, but I don't really know much about the third episode.
This is a franchise that's been on an island. It's now expanded to the entire world. You think there's a chance Jurassic World ever goes to space? Because I feel like every franchise, that's the next step. It's the next step for humans. Is it the next step for the Jurassic franchise?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think somehow what is interesting about the Jurassic stories is that they reflect on the moment that we live in. This is something that comes from very early on in the original book from Michael Crichton. So, I don't know. I mean, if we start to talk about going back to space, maybe there's a possibility that in the future we will talk about that in the Jurassic movies.
Was there anything that you wanted to do in this movie, or that you shot that didn't make the cut, that is going to be on this Blu-ray in a deleted scene or something that you're very excited
No,
for?
I think that the cut that you will find that we saw in the theaters is a cut that we like, and there was nothing really meaningful in the story. Even we decided not to include any kind of deleted scenes in the story because we thought that anything that we took out was very meaningful, really.
Okay. We're Comicbook.com, so I have to ask, are you a comic book fan at all?
I'm a big Superman fan.
Superman, okay. Would you ever want to helm a superhero? I mean, if DC were like, hey, Warner Brothers was like, hey, we have a Superman movie coming up, would you be interested? You think?
Don't ask me twice.
What do you think? What kind of Superman movie would you like to see? Because I mean, you're a fan of the character. What do you think?
I'm a big fan of the first Superman movie from Richard Donner's. I still consider it the best superhero movie ever. I think it's an amazing movie. It's not just a great comic book adaptation. I think it's an amazing movie. It's a great movie.